All right, let's go do one more boss here. A quick little overview of Gahoon. All right, which did we use? Let me see which video I have here for you guys. I think it's the better one. It's the Korean one that we just used for the guild strat. Hopefully. Yes, the Shaman, I think, and the Paladin. All right. Yeah, that's the right one. All right, so Gahoon is a fun, interesting boss that we've never seen before, and by that I mean very sarcastically. It does have very similar mechanics. I mean, not everybody raided with Lady Vash like I did, or against Lady Vash. You've seen some of these mechanics before, where you have what is that damn instance? It's a dungeon where you're moving the orbs around and you have the eyes you got to put into the big skeleton socket. Something very similar to that. It's basically a three-phase encounter. The first phase here is these eyes and the big ad that you're dealing with. It does have a priority in terms of ads that you're destroying. It is the big white eye stalk first, followed by the little eye stalks, followed by the big guy. The big guy does have a you'll see a big circled buff and debuff that happens. Essentially, anybody that is standing inside when you cast this thing uh, does increase damage and takes increased damage as well. So you can stand in this as a raid and you get a huge damage boost, which is awesome. Except when you get a second one, you get mind controlled and you die and you wipe the raid. So don't do that. Take one stack, then make sure you never get hit by another one until your debuff expires again. What some guilds do with this guy is they will tank him on top of. Let me actually fast forward. There we go. They will actually. Here you go. See this there. This ability is what he's casting. God, what's the name of the ability here? The name escaped me. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember it here. I don't want to pull up my dungeon journal. Anyway, this big debuff here, you don't want to be. You want to be standing in potentially because you gain a massive buff, but you also take more damage. It also lets you kill these things a little bit more quickly, which is awesome. You do want to be interrupting these little eye stalks. Think of that stupid eyeball boss back in Emerald Nightmare. At the same time, the tanks are dragging this guy around, hopefully putting him in a good spot. When he does his cast, tanks will also need to run away because you don't get a second stack of Death's Bargain or Dark Bargain or whatever it is. So here they are killing the ads. Now the big white, there you go, there's another cast going off. At the same time, there's these corrupted explosions. Now, these corrupted explosions target random players in the raid. If you get one of these, it is super important that you get the hell out of there. So get the hell out with these orbs because you will explode and spawn 5 of these little white balls. If somebody else gets hit, they're going to drop a puddle here, which slows you and you take damage, and then spawn another 5 set of balls. So that is a domino effect. If you ever get hit, targeted by these corrupted blasts, you run the hell out and run away from the rest of the raid. So again, stand in the right spot, kill the ads. This fight is all of that. Here we go. All right. So again, you see the orbs flying through. They're really slow moving, which makes it really nice. Here, so they don't have a buff right now. So they actually slowed how quickly they killed this guy so they could get another buff. There we go, they got a buff. And you can see the big white eye stalk. Now this thing here on the, this is your high priority target. Kill this thing first, murder it, blow it up before it kills your raid. It also burrows underneath and causes a lot of issues for the raid. That is essentially the bottom phase. At the same time, there's a top phase going on where you'll be sending 2 people to deal with power matrices in order to start the next phase and stun all the ads and kill the boss. So again, you're prioritizing this ad here. Again, this guy should be over here killing the big ad, not the small ads. You can feel free to dot these things up. But you see what I mean here is look how many balls you now have to dodge. You're creating more difficult mechanics for yourselves by not being in the right position, right? Like all these little patches, that's screwing the raid over, right? All these little things that are spawning, hitting other people, it just hit somebody else in melee. Now, the power matrix essentially up on these little corridors, up on the right side. Let me, if I have a better picture for you guys. Essentially, you're going to have people running these power matrices into the boss to deal with this, to spawn this beam. When this beam happens, it does raid-wide damage to the raid, so everyone's going to stack in. Every 6 seconds, it does some pretty decent damage, but everyone else also takes, the enemies take a ton of damage, so they just get absolutely murdered as well. So it clears up, the poison, whatever, the bad stuff in the room, and you all take some damage. All right, so this guy, it is now his turn to deal with the power matrix. See what happens. So they're going to go up with a partner. Here, I believe they sent, what, a shaman? Yeah, perfect. So this is the orb. This is the orb that you click on. On the higher difficulty, I believe, heroic onwards, you can only do it once. So you can only do one portion of it, but you can actually get thrown more orbs. At the same time, yeah, they send a resto and elemental. So they're going to just alternate it here. Now, there's been changes in the encounter where one of our raiders said it's not movement speed, it's action speed. So if whether you're leaping or charging or rolling or torpedoing or whatever, that is also slowed. It is not just a movement speed. So you can cheese this potentially by having one person do it all. But I think the intention is to not do that. So yeah, use your gateways. Ideally, you have a gateway one on this side, one on the other side for people to do it. He'll use a gateway here. Again, you're DPSing these things to make them go away because, again, it does slow you down. Look at that beautiful chain lightning. Now, eventually it slows you to a point where you can't move. He has to throw it, sort of like Lady Vash, almost. Did my voice go now? Oh, there. Holy, a little better. So they have to throw it, and they have to catch it to the next person. You'll see a little circle on the ground. The next person has to catch it. You have no choice but to catch that damn orb. If you miss, you're going to potentially wipe the raid because you're going to have to wait for another cycle of these orbs to spawn. So this shaman's going to catch it. There you go. He's caught it. Now this guy can move again, and he's going to start moving. They're going to their DPS, his last ones, and they're going to hit the orb. In other versions of this, there's a paladin doing it as well. You can, again, crisscross it, use your horse, whatever. And here is Gahun, this big, fat, slug-looking thing. Yeah, it's a big, fat, ugly slug. There's also no point DPSing Gahun early on because he does heal himself. He just heals himself while he's burrowed away. You do have also this blood fun time ability where he comes out. So when he does come out, you'll basically deal with these little bloods that are on you. It's a stacking dot, basically, that you get more and more of. You also have a blood feast. So the blood feast fixates on one player. It immobilizes them, so they can't move. Everybody needs to stack on this player. So you're all going to stack on this player. It's going to remove your dot, but at the same time, it's going to take all those little dots and spawn one big blob. And the blob is called the Gibbering Horror. So watch what happens here in a second. So they're all stacked in. There we go. They grip the person back in. Remove their dots. There it is. They're all in. 3, 2, 1. And there. So their dots are gone. You can see on the right frame his debuff is gone. But they spawned this stupid Gibbering Horror. Now this is a high priority target. Every single person has to switch off to this thing because it has a massive... So, sorry, let me backtrack for a second. This Gibbering Horror spawns... 5% of HP is increased for every person that it soaked a blood. So high raid size, again, hopefully the scaling is okay with a 30% raid size. But again, the more people that soak, the higher his HP. Some guilds may go half and half to drop off their debuffs to have lower HP ones, but it's going to average out anyway. Just probably deal with one big massive guy rather than splitting off your group. But yeah. So they're going to focus this guy down. Now, it's super important to kill this guy because he casts this ability called Mind-Numbing Chatter, and it's a raid-wide interrupt as well as raid-wide damage. So you don't want to let this guy, stay up alive at all. Get it one cast off. That's probably it because you don't want your guy silenced. It does a ton of raid-wide damage. It's not worth it. The other thing you see here is the big knockback from this dude. Again, you want to be spread out wherever possible for his big knockback. It's not avoidable. It's going to knock you back, but you do want to be spread out. So here they're running away. So that was the Wave of Corruption. Here's the Blood Feast that happens. They're all stacked in, going to spawn another ad. At the same time, you're dealing with these things, right? So this guy ran out. Good on him to run this out. The further you are away, the more time it gives the rest of your raid to react, right? There's a lot of things going on. You do want your raid to have lots of time to react and kill these and to dodge these things. Because if somebody gets hit here, they're going to spawn a big white puddle. It's going to slow them, these things, and they're going to hit another 5 explosion. There. And again, here comes the beam. So at the same time, you have teams of 2 going up top, dealing with those power matrices. Here they actually heroed. So at this point, remember, things take additional damage from that beam, including Gahun himself. So they melt this Gibbering Horror. They're going to start melting the boss as well and going through it each time. Could this boss be called Leech? Potentially. Maybe. Again, it is lots of raid-wide damage, but at the same time, you're also dodging those little white balls. You can see the paladin that just horsed out of there on the right side, and they're doing some more damage here. All right, they're going through it again. Again, you're spread out wherever possible for these little debuffs. So again, it does knock you back if any player touches this stuff, and it gives you more stacks of the blood if you're too close to the players. So you don't want to be near other players. You want to have a minimal amount of stacks. So the more stacks you have, if you're all stacked together, this gibbering horror is going to have massive amounts of HP, and you'll not be able to kill it. Again, they're running out. Use Lycopus to pull people back in if they're not going to be in time for the Blood Feast. Here comes the Blood Feast in a second. There it is. So one guy actually has to run out because you can't... It is more important to run those corruptions, the explosions out, than it is to be in a Blood Feast. So one of these people, whoever ran out there, like the Paladin Loki, I think, will not have their blood... Oh, maybe he'll make it in time. Nope. Who actually didn't lose it? Somebody here. They will not have their debuffs expire. There was actually this guy, Labradoodle. So he now has 3 stacks. So he's taking more and more damage because of the blood. They're going to blow up this ad here. This is a long encounter too. Super, super long. Again, spread out for the unavoidable damage. Stack back in, do some more damage. At the same time, these players are going to be dealing with those power matrices. Again, dropping those off. Again, dodge them. They're slow moving. Ideally, the person that was rooted doesn't get hit, because that would be a nightmare to have the one person rooted with the Blood Feast get hit by one of those orbs. There's the ad again. Again, ads are priority. You see them how quickly they spread out, because that's going to happen right away, right? Those stacks are going to get quite high. Okay, so here we go. There we go. There was a silence because the cast went off. You actually got hit by the interrupt. Blow it up. Let's go fast forward a little bit here. Stack back in. There you go. That happened your best attempt. Was still manageable. Very spooky. Yeah, it's not ideal. All right, there is the Blood Feast again. Again, you want to minimize how many stacks you have, because the more stacks you have, the more HP this thing's going to have. And the more HP it has, the longer it's going to take to kill it, and therefore get back on the boss. So minimize your stacks by good positioning, then kill ads. All right, there's the big ad. Yeah, consider we looked at one of your Relo's Twitch thing as well. Nice and big here. Again, tons of HP because of all the stacks that people had, probably due to not spreading. And you can see here all the little puddles. That's going to be fun to deal with later on. And you can see on the left side, on the mini-map here, it's a little hard to see. The next group is running over for the Power Matrix to murder this boss. Again, tons of damage going out. It's going to be more and more damage every single time. Looks like they ran out. Yeah, a ton of healers. All right, let's go fast forward a little bit more. There's another Blood Feast. All right, so here is the Shaman again, dealing with round 2. Looks like, oh, they were stuck here. Poor little guy was stuck. He needed a buddy. Not sure why they delayed it. Oh, the guy died, that's why. So they have to deal with another cycle. So that's part of the reason why it took so long. It's because the person out there died, right? You can see here the X. Liu Kang, the monk, is dead. Have to deal with another cycle. They're going to do a cycle here on the left side. And at that point, they're going to spawn it soon. Again, you're dodging all those things, dealing with the gibbering horror. See right there, that was a bad one where they all got clipped together. He has to run out. Okay, now you go. Now he's going to go pick up this last set, hopefully. Hopefully he's got a buddy. Looks like a Shaman buddy's following him. There you go. Shaman buddy, go lightning things. No? Perhaps not. He's going to throw it to his next buddy. All right, they're going to go, try to make it all the way to the end here before the things slow them and kill them. Okay, there we go. They spawn the little origination. He's going to reincarnate. Try to get down there really quickly. He's not going to make it. Big beam about to hit him right now. There we go. Almost. Should have used his health stone. I believe we're going to res him here. Yeah, all right. So again, the boss takes massive damage, which is why that power matrix portion is super, super important that you guys don't miss it. Now, he's going to transition into phase 3. Phase 3 is a shit show. You'll want to use potential hero here as well, burn through it. He spawns at, I believe it's at 20% that he does this little transition. If you guys remember Blackhand, the big collapsing things that came down from the sky. Same kind of thing here. It looked like it was targeted on players. I think in one of the other Twitch videos that we looked at, it did not. But watch here what happens. It's going to spawn on the right side there on a person. Now it's mass damage. So again, the closer you are to these things, the more damage you do. Plus it's a knockback. This is where you want to be using your personal cooldowns, your devotion auras, your revivals, whatever to keep people alive. There are 3 of these that come down. There's 1. Look at all that damage. There's 2. Again, you want to be as far away as possible from these things. And the last one's going to spawn in the worst spot possible in melee. So whenever you're trying to, hopefully they're targeted on players. Whenever you want to bait these, you want to bait them on the outside away from the middle. The middle is the worst possible spot to be in to spawn these big circles. But yeah, you're absolutely using your cooldowns. You're trying to survive it. At the same time, these little blood pustules, whatever they're called, will be spawning as well. You'll see them in a second. Hopefully soon. There you go. So, for those of you who remember doing stuff like Bracken Spore, so you're dealing with the same kind of wave ability, but at the same time, these things are going to pop and kill you. If you're standing too close to one of these things, they basically kill you. They do 120,000 damage. It's an explosion. You're going to die. So you can see them popping, pop, 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 pop. At the same time, you're dealing with the dodging of the stuff. This guy got feared. So he also has a fear ability on top of that. So if you're facing the boss, similar to like Yogg or whatever bosses, if you're facing the boss when he does it, you're feared. And guess what? You're going to get feared into one of these things. It's going to happen. Good positioning, good facing. We'll avoid that. There you go. You got blown up by with these pustules. And that's a wrap. So they got to, 14% here? Yeah. I definitely would have saved hero. A couple of mistakes there, but it's a tougher tuned boss. A lot of things going on, a lot of personal responsibility, a lot of raid responsibility as well on this encounter. So yes, that was G'huun in a nutshell. Expect some tuning changes and some modifications going forward into that.